All right, guys, welcome back to another trade review. I'm going to be reviewing yesterday's trade from the 18th of August. Pretty easy day. We did finish off with a win, so I'm just going to get straight into it. So onto the weekly chart, what do we see? So we see a bullish weekly gap that we are clearly trending down towards, which is going to be our main draw on liquidity for the day. Very simple, very obvious. Yes, we do have LR above, but in the most, nearest to us, we've got this weekly gap that we want to see reject and then go up to take us to all-time highs. I believe that's what we can do. I believe this weekly gap will shoot us up to all-time highs. Let's go down to the 4-hour. What am I looking at? What I want to see? Well, initially already I can see that we have high resistance versus low resistance. So again, as we are bearish, we're going to be targeting these lows here. We got this internal low and this internal low. We also have a 4-hour SMT with ES as well. And then, yeah, the reason why I say high resistance is, as you can see, we have price taking out high after high. So sweep that high, then we swept this high. So this is high resistance liquidity. However, you can see here, we have a price leg down, we go up, then we do not sweep this high. So we're just generating liquidity on the 4-hour time frame. So we want to be targeting the stop losses and the area of lowest resistance. We can also treat these gaps as high resistance as well. As you can see on this price leg down, because we're moving in such volume, you can see we're opening up bearish gaps along the way to protect this high resistance high. So I have a lot of conviction that we will go down to that weekly gap, which I believe is this gap here, this low here. I believe we will go down to that weekly gap purely because of the fact that we have high resistance and we have low resistance below. So onto the hourly time frame, what do we see? Well, already we see we are rejecting off this 1-hour gap, 1-hour bearish gap. So again, more confirmation that we should be bearish for this day specifically. Yeah, so we are rejecting and respecting this 1-hour gap. So we're respecting bearish and we're disrespecting bullish. So that's already our kind of, idea for the day. Now we're going to move on to our higher time frame condition for the day. Very simple. We're going to be targeting this 30-minute gap. So what we want to see on market open, we want to see us initially open higher, potentially generating liquidity to the upside, to the downside, sorry, and then trade lower after we reject off that 30-minute gap. But let's go on to the 1 minute and show you what actually happened on market open, because it wasn't actually what we wanted per se. So on the 1 minute, you can see we do have some low resistance liquidity above, which is why I wanted price to take out that low resistance, and then we're able to trade lower whilst generating low resistant lows on the way up. But yeah, on market open, you can see here what we've done is we actually sweeped out all these levels. We actually sweeped all of that with this little price wick down, and we ended up trading up into this slightly already mitigated 30-minute gap. So this gap up here, we didn't actually tap into yet. And then obviously a lot of people might have been able to take a Julia swing here down to the weekly gap. However, it just wouldn't have been possible in my opinion, just because of the fact that the RR would have been horrible. So for example, if you wanted to take this short, you'd have to put your stop loss all the way up here and then target the gap. So it would just be a really bad RR, if you know what I mean. We then trade higher, as you can see, sweeping out this low resistance, creating low resistance on the downside. So yeah, as you can see now, we are just trending lower. Again, the target is always going to be that obviously the weekly gap below. So we're just waiting for that to hit. This 1-hour mitigated gap that was already mitigated, we are, sorry guys, excuse me, someone just disturbed me. But yeah, like I was saying, so yeah, we are trending bearish, of course. And we ended up sweeping this 930 high as well. So if we keep playing price, I'm going to show you where our entry was and why we entered it. To me, there was nothing here. There's nothing that I was interested in. We didn't really create any higher time frame gaps. You can see we're just generating low resistance liquidity on the higher time frame as well. But what we did find is very simple. We had this 5-minute gap created, and my idea was to take a 5-minute continuation lower, as we are still respecting bearish and disrespecting bullish. And my plan is to trade that down to the weekly gap, of course, because that is our main trade idea for the day, and we are very confident in that working. So that 4-hour SMT that I've got marked out on the 1 hour and on the 1 minute and all the time frames is that weekly gap. So we tap into that 5-minute gap, and from there you can see we got a really nice reaction from it. We actually created a beautiful fair value gap right here, very nice, and we had a really nice close. Right, this wick is exactly what we want to see when we're looking for a rejection. So to be able to trade this continuation lower, I would have needed a very nice rejection wick like this. It's a small fair value gap here. You could also look at it on the 4 minute as well. You can see it's a lot more prominent, but we look on the 5 minute because it's the highest time frame that gap was present. And then we were able to just continue this trend lower. So we enter on the close. I believe I put my stop loss just somewhere up here. I think it was actually just right there. And then you can see we ended up retracing back into this 1 minute, which was able to protect our stop loss. And then, yeah, we just took our 1-to-1. Now, why did I only take a 1-to-1? The reason why I only took a 1-to-1 is because recently we're aware that price action has been pretty poor for NQ. Even though I am 100% certain we will hit this we'll hit this weekly gap on the higher time frame. I'm very sure of it. The only reason why I haven't gone and even left the runner in is because I know how poor price action has been recently, and I don't want to risk us, because we'd have to have gone break even at this low here. So I know how we like to print barcodes recently, and obviously staying in this trade would have put us at risk as getting stopped out at break even. So when we have market conditions and when price action is a bit poor, like it has been the past couple of weeks, I want to make sure I take my profit and move on with the day. So we were done by 10 past 10, so 3:10 in the UK. And yeah, really nice trade, very simple trade, didn't take too long. I think it was around 7 minutes. And eventually, like you can see, we actually did end up printing barcodes and not just dumping straight down to that weekly gap, which I thought we should have. But if I keep playing price, you'll see that eventually we did actually go ahead and hit this weekly gap. But this is the only trade that I found that day. I knew some people took this trade here, reason being, to be fair, mainly because of the conviction of the low resistance on the 4 hour versus the high resistance. Also, just going off the sweep, going off this 930 liquidity sweep, as you can see, we swept above all these, including some of these highs, leaving this high right at the top, which is technically high resistant, as we swept all of these lows. All of these highs. So yeah, just off of this, a nice little inverse, trading that down towards the weekly gap. So yeah, didn't really like that. It didn't really match anything that I was looking for. Again, I was looking for a higher time frame condition to trade into. We didn't. I think eventually this 4 hour gap became a condition that, again, we did not tap into. So like I said, we're just waiting for us to tap into it. We didn't tap into this 30 minute. However, I was super convicted that we were trading lower. And on a day that we're not opening up many gaps on the 15 minute to 1 hour time frame, we ended up going down to the 5 minute, finding a really nice rejection to trade a continuation model lower. I'm going to briefly pull up my journal that I'd done for this.